Have you ever stopped to think that to fill a single bottle of coconut oil, more than 15 whole coconuts need to be cracked, cleaned, and pressed? And that inside a single factory, thousands of fruits pass through an army of tropical machines that turn white pulp into a golden liquid, pure and bright like gold. But how does the coconut, this symbol of summer, become one of the most valuable and sought-after oils on the planet? Welcome to Factories and Facts, the channel where you discover what happens inside the world's largest industries. And today, we're going beyond the metal doors of coconut oil factories to reveal every hidden secret behind this miraculous liquid. Imagine the constant sound of conveyor belts, the sweet aroma of fresh coconut, and the steam rising from industrial presses. Each stage is a dance of precision where nothing can go wrong. One mistake in temperature, and the entire batch is lost. One wrong cut in the pulp, and tons of raw material go straight to waste. But what makes coconut oil so pure, so stable, and so versatile, capable of being used in cooking, cosmetics, and even high-performance engines? In the next few minutes, you'll see what no one ever shows you: the complete journey of the coconut, from shell to the very last drop. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to the Factories and Facts channel, because the next stage is going to surprise you. Did you imagine this process involves so much engineering and technology? In the coconut groves, everything begins with choosing the right fruit. Experienced workers walk among the trees, observing color, sound, and even the weight of the coconut in their hands. The ones that are too green, cracked, or too light are left behind. Only mature coconuts with thick pulp rich in oil make the cut. In many regions, climbing machines assist in the harvest, gripping the trunk and climbing like tropical robots. Each truck leaving the fields carries tons of coconuts, piled up like brown stones heading toward the factory. When the truck crosses the industrial gate, the scenery changes. Nature gives way to steel. The coconuts are dumped into a massive metal hopper and move along conveyors that vibrate non-stop. The first stop is industrial washing. High-pressure water jets and rotating brushes scrub each fruit, removing sand, soil, leaves, and any impurities brought from the grove. In many plants, this water is filtered and reused, forming a closed-loop system that reduces waste and costs. Once washed, the coconuts move on to one of the most visually striking stages: mechanical cracking. Machines with steel blades spinning at thousands of rotations per minute split the shell in fractions of a second. The noise is constant, like an endless sequence of dry thunder. With each cut, the contrast appears. Rough brown on the outside, inside, a perfect ring of white pulp. The shells follow a parallel line. Later, they may become activated charcoal, briquettes, or fuel for the factory's own boilers. The pulp, now in pieces, enters a more controlled environment. It passes through large cutting discs that slice everything into smaller strips, preparing it for the next step: industrial shredders. These are cylinders with metal teeth spinning at high speed, turning the strips into a kind of coconut crumb or snow, moist, fragrant, and packed with hidden oil. If you could be there, you'd smell an intense sweetness filling the entire facility. But this grated pulp is still full of water, and too much water is the enemy of oil quality and shelf life. That's why the mass moves on to drying tunnels. Wide conveyors carry the grated coconut through chambers where hot air circulates at controlled temperatures. No uncontrolled heat here. Too hot, and the oil oxidizes and loses quality. too cool, and it stays moist and spoils quickly. Temperature and humidity sensors monitor every batch. On control screens, operators watch graphs rise and fall as they adjust fans, valves, and heating elements. When the mass reaches the ideal point, still flexible, but without excess moisture, it's released to the next stage. Now the coconut is no longer a fruit, nor just pulp. It's a mass ready to be pressed, almost like a sponge soaked with oil about to be squeezed. This is the exact moment when the factory performs a kind of quality checkpoint. Samples are collected, weighed, and tested. If it's too wet, it goes back to drying. If it's too dry, yield drops and much of the oil remains trapped in the fiber. Meanwhile, outside, new trucks keep arriving with more coconuts, continuously feeding a factory that never sleeps. What was once a common coastal fruit has now become a raw material calibrated to the millimeter, ready for the most hypnotic stage of all: oil extraction, when this seemingly simple mass begins to release a golden gleaming liquid. If this entire journey, from the coconut grove to automated drying lines, has already impressed you, take a moment and leave a like here on Factories and Facts. Next, you'll see the exact moment when this white mass turns into rivers of pure coconut oil, under the brutal force of presses and the precision of sensors. The coconut pulp, now dried and ground, is ready to reveal its treasure. At first glance, it looks like nothing more than a pale, crumbly mass. But when it enters the industrial presses, what happens is almost magical. Tons of pressure squeeze every cell until the oil hidden inside the fiber is released. The liquid that flows out, thick and milky, is crude coconut oil, the first stage of tropical gold. Depending on the factory's goal, there are two paths: cold pressing or hot extraction. In cold pressing, the process is slower, but it preserves aromatic compounds and the coconut's natural flavor. The oil comes out translucent with a gentle aroma, perfect for cosmetics and fine cooking. Hot extraction, on the other hand, uses steam and higher temperatures to increase yield, ideal for large-scale production. The result then needs to go through special filtration to remove residues and neutralize flavor. The difference between the two methods is more than technical, it's philosophical. On one side, artisanal purity, on the other, industrial efficiency. But in both cases, the principle is the same: the pursuit of liquid perfection. After pressing, the oil moves into large settling tanks, where it rests for several hours. Gravity separates water, fiber, and oil. It's a silent, almost meditative process. Nature doing the work that no machine can rush without losing quality. When the pure oil rises to the surface, it's guided through stainless steel pipes into an ultra-fine filtration system. There, microfiber meshes capture any invisible particles, turning the liquid into something so clear it reflects light like liquid glass. While machines do their job, human operators remain essential. They inspect color, aroma, and viscosity. The human touch, no artificial intelligence can replace. A slightly burnt smell or a yellowish tone is enough to identify a batch that falls outside the standard. It's the human sense of smell, combined with machine precision, that preserves coconut oil's reputation for purity. And every liter extracted has a defined destination. Some goes to cosmetics, some to food, and the surplus can become a base for biofuel. Nothing is wasted. What began as white pulp is now a valuable, multifunctional product distributed worldwide. Now tell me, Which of these stages surprised you the most? The power of the presses, the calm of decantation, or the shine of the filtered oil? Leave a comment and tell us which city and state you're watching Factories and Facts from. Up next, you'll see how cutting-edge technology and tropical robots ensure that every bottle leaves perfect, without a single drop outside the standard. The coconut oil is now pure, translucent, and gleaming. But before it reaches you, it still has to pass the final test of perfection. This is where tropical technology shows its full power. A symphony of sensors, robots, and inspection lights that forgive no mistakes. In the final filtration tanks, microscopic metal meshes remove any invisible particles. Turbidity sensors analyze how light passes through the oil. If anything is outside the standard, the line is automatically paused. It's as if the factory had eyes and a mind of its own, supervising every drop flowing through stainless steel pipes. Right next door, automated bottling begins. Robotic arms, precise like surgeons, fill up to 120 bottles per minute without spilling a single drop. The bottles, clear as crystal, move along conveyors under intense white light. High-speed cameras detect even microbubbles or volume differences, and with a burst of air, remove any imperfect bottle from the line. Meanwhile, in the lab, human technicians, still irreplaceable, analyze samples from every batch. They test density, acidity, and color. A slight variation in tone can already indicate impurity or oxidation. That's why each approved batch receives a code that allows tracking the exact moment of production, the press used, and even the origin of the coconuts. Bottles that pass every test move on to automatic labeling. Optical sensors align each label with millimeter precision, and mechanical arms apply them in perfect synchronization. Next, boxes are formed, sealed, and stacked by palletizing robots working silently like an invisible choreography. A modern coconut oil factory can produce up to 100,000 liters per month, supplying both the food industry and the global cosmetics market. What's most fascinating is that part of the energy powering all of this comes from the process leftovers themselves. Burned shells generate steam, and the steam drives turbines. In other words, the factory feeds itself, closing a sustainable and efficient cycle. Incredible, right? If this mix of engineering, precision, and sustainability impressed you, leave a like here on Factories and Facts, and help spread knowledge about what happens inside the most fascinating factories on the planet. And get ready, because now comes the final revelation: how even coconut residues are transformed into new products. The true sustainable secret of this golden industry. When the machines fall silent and the factory lights go out, what remains is not waste. It's what the industry calls the second gold of the coconut. Residues that, far from being trash, return to the world with new functions and meanings. For every ton of coconuts processed, a mountain of shells, fibers, and dehydrated pulp remains. But none of it is discarded. The outer shells, hard like wood, are sent to a carbonization line. There, under controlled heat and limited oxygen, they are transformed into activated charcoal used in water filters, cosmetics, and even medicines. It's a high-value product exported to dozens of countries. The brown fibers, known as coir, are washed and dried, becoming raw material for carpets, ropes, upholstery, and agricultural substrates. In greenhouses and plantations, this material helps retain moisture and nourish the soil. the coconut itself giving life back to the land it came from. And what about the pulp left after oil extraction? That becomes coconut meal rich in plant-based protein. It feeds animals, becomes an ingredient in energy bars, and even a base for gluten-free baking products. Nothing is lost, everything is transformed. At the top of this industrial ecosystem, there's also energy recovery. The hot steam generated during pulp drying is channeled to power the boilers, closing an efficient thermal cycle. It's the factory supplying itself, a system that breathes sustainability and reduces carbon emissions by up to 30%. But there's something even more impressive. In many producing regions, such as the Philippines, Indonesia, and other tropical areas, coconuts support entire families. Every part of the fruit creates jobs, from those who harvest it to those who operate the bottling machines. And the oil, traveling the world in elegant bottles, carries with it a chain of human stories, of effort and tropical innovation. Today, coconut oil is found in luxury cosmetics, kitchens, medicines, and even experimental biofuels. A single product that connects nature, science, and technology. A symbol of versatility and human ingenuity in making the most of what Earth provides. And when you look at a bottle of coconut oil on a store shelf, you might remember what lies behind it. A dance between tradition and robotics, between the fields and the laboratory, between the heat of the sun and the shine of steel. This was Factories and Facts, once again revealing the spectacle hidden inside the industries that move our world. Now tell us in the comments, what surprised you the most on this journey? The raw power of the presses, the precision of the robots, or the perfect cycle that turns everything into something useful? And of course, subscribe to the Factories and Facts channel to keep exploring with me the most impressive secrets of the global industry. Because deep down, every factory is a universe. And the next episode might take you to another planet of steel, fire, and engineering. And if you think you've already seen everything, then you can't imagine the factory we featured in our latest episode. It's already appearing on your screen. Click, and come with me to uncover another hidden secret here on Factories and Facts. A big hug. I'll see you there.